Hey, what's up, everybody? This your girl Shannon at Can We Talk Sports. I'm here with my host,
Karen, what's
Karen.
up? What's up?
You know I'm gonna talk about you, right?
Uh, yeah.
So we in the
What you
green
say?
room, and we talking to our guests. Karen jumps up. I guess a family member came over, right? Karen was like, "Hi!" And I was like, "Oh my God, we in the green room." My guest looking at me, and so she brought us some greens, right? So Karen go, "These my greens? What did you ask her? Are they cooked? What
I
did you
said, why they not cooked with some cornbread?
in
She
the
bought them.
green room, y'all? So the guest that's gonna come on was cracking up, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my!" She didn't mute no mic,
I
nothing.
thought you couldn't hear through the
We
earplug.
heard everything, the holler, the greens, the kitchen. We heard it all, right? So she gets up and leaves. So I'm sitting there going, okay. So we just didn't even laugh, but hey, that's how it is on Can You Talk Sports because you never know what go. Listen, the green room, you never know what goes on in the green room.
Never
What
know.
goes on in the green room stays in.
Stay in the green room.
What they say, what goes on in Vegas, stay in Vegas.
Stay.
So anyway, I thought that was so funny. I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to get her on the show." Lord have mercy, it was hilarious. I mean, she was like, "Ah!" So, oh my God,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think
it
y'all
was
could
funny. It was
hear
cute.
me through the earplug.
Oh yeah, you can hear him real good, but it was cute. You know what? That's why you gotta love Karen, right? Like Karen is Karen. She's like, I'm real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat. This is who I am. Either you're gonna love me or you're not.
Right.
So that's what I love about her because she is funny,
Thank
hilarious. So and always laughing. See what I'm saying? She always laugh. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, you should see us.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
man. So anyway, what's going on?
Well, today was an emotional day. I didn't realize they was having a funeral for George Floyd, and so at one point in the funeral, they had people to stand doing it for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So I went live standing for him on behalf of him in
Yeah, I saw
silence.
that. Yeah.
And I was so powerful. And, and I was just, thinking to my head, God, help us to love one another, help us to get past this, help us come together with unity. I'm just like, it's, it's like, where are the answers?
The only thing you can do is give it to God. So there's just prayer. Just give it to him. I saw a video where a bunch of students in Alabama or community all lay down. So I thought it was like, wow, that's pretty touching.
Yeah.
So yeah, I tell you what, just Got to give it to the Lord. That's all I know. That's why I tell my kids, you just got to stay before God, no matter what it is. You just have to stay before Him and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you're living your life right. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But we got so much going on Can We Talk Sports? We've got some guests coming to the show. We've got a special guest that will be coming to the show that I called Karen this morning about. I can't tell y'all. I can't tell y'all. But all I'm gonna tell you is this: when they come on the show, I am not responsible for what comes out of their mouth. Okay.
The
And
guest mouth or
yes,
our mouth?
the guest mouth, because I'm related to them, right? So if they say anything about my childhood, me as a little
Oh,
girl, don't even believe them. Don't
oh no, no, I'm
don't
believing it.
don't even
Tell us
believe not
about
a nan.
Shannon.
Don't believe nan one of them. Don't believe nan one that's gonna come on the show. So I can't wait till we do the flyer. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna say it again. Whatever they say about me when I was
Mm-mm,
young, don't even believe
mm-mm. Oh no,
them.
you can't do that.
Don't believe them. Don't especially my sister's actually one of them's coming on. Don't even believe her.
Oh no. Mm-mm. I
Don't
want to tell me everything
don't
and
believe
be
them.
like this.
I'm gonna be sitting. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna figure out how to mute them. Mute.
When they start talking crazy.
Oh, mute. So anyway, so I'm pretty excited about that. We got that phone call. We've got a lot more guests coming. I mean, they're coming left and right. So we're super
Yeah,
excited about that. I cannot wait till we get back out there to
yeah,
interview. But on another note today, Jordan has been working with Josh. Josh also played in the NFL with Jordan at Kansas, and then they went to the XFL. Josh played here for Coach Stoops, and Jordan was in LA. But anyway, they developed a friendship. They're here training together, and they're training some young men from Prosper, and it's just like they're getting it. And so in training, there was three other young men from McKinney Boyd who saw them and
mm,
came over, and they want to train with them. So what I love about it is they're not just training them, but they're speaking the word to them.
wow,
They're ministering, they're talking, they're building encouragement. See, you have trainers out there, right? And no offense, but there's trainers out there that train, and they motivate them, and then they send them on. But I love how Josh and Jordan is like, listen, first you got to keep God first, first and foremost, and talking about a plan B. They're being real because Josh and Jordan were not first round picks; they were free agents, but they still made it to the NFL, but they're telling their journey. So they're not saying, "Hey, put all your eggs in one card." It's like, "Listen, have a plan B." You know, what are you going to school for? What's if you don't do this, what's next? What do you have
right.
planned? So they're kind of preparing them for. But like I said, they're ministering, yet they're encouraging these young guys who um, are dealing with the underdog status, and they're
Yeah,
encouraging them to keep on and never, don't stop. And I love that because, and I hate saying underdog, but I love it because they're pulling them together, because I
mm,
think those students get left to the side. No
mm.
one, no one gives them the one-on-one. If you're not the top athlete, you're not running the fastest, if you're not,
The
the biggest,
size.
the side, the swag, then you kind of push to the side. So that's what I like about what Jordan and them doing. They're looking at them as like, listen, you get up here with the rest of them,
Yeah,
but you got to believe. So that's
that's
kind of,
good.
yeah, that's what we had going on today. So
That's good. That's good. With everything that's going on, there's been some like different posts I've been posting about, what if an um, athlete that's being recruited decide, especially an elite athlete that's being recruited, decide to go to a HBCU versus
I
going
saw
to a
that.
D1.
I saw
And I
that.
probably had over 400 comments.
Wow.
And then I posted again. There's a basketball player, an elite basketball player, and he is considering going to a HBCU. And I posted that, and I have so many comments. We're going to do a show where we just show those comments and we comment on those comments.
Yeah, I
But
saw that post.
it's just, it's just it's just strange on people's opinion about it, and but it's
Yeah,
going to be good conversation. It's just
very good conversation.
times that we're dealing with today.
Yeah,
What ifs?
everything. Well, everything is it. Anything is subject to change.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready for the change. You know, that's how I look at it. And so even through this, if people weren't ready for the COVID change, if they weren't ready, then they got lost. So somewhere you always got to stay on your toes. Hey, how are you? You always got to stay on your toes to be ready for the change. So that's kind of where I've been, talking to the kids, like, look, shift. All right, let's think like this. Be on your toes, be on your feet. So what if it's like you said, what if you don't go back to football? What's your plan? What are we doing? So that's why Jordan's getting into training more, whether preparing them, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna prepare you for the sport, but at the
Mm,
same time, I'm going to prepare you for life. Does
yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah. But so we're about to transition. We have a guest. We're gonna talk about hockey. What? Listen. I've seen some hockey games. Them jokers be on the ice. They be fighting. I mean, they be slamming their heads up in the glass. I'll be like, oh my gosh, are you serious? You know, um, but hockey is a fast paced sport on ice.
Yes, it is.
On ice. And I mean, them clothes, they be moving, they be, you know what I'm saying? And it's wild. When they fight, that's what's so funny. I mean, they
Yeah.
literally, they go for it.
Yeah.
So
Can you
I
imagine
can't
how much confidence they have to have in skating?
to stand
Uh,
on the ice while you
to
fighting,
stand on the skate, yeah, and
to
skating
be on
and stuff.
the ice,
That I would probably be a nervous wreck.
yeah. So my son, I think it was Christopher. It's like, Mom, I want to play hockey. So so I thought about it, and then you start looking at the prices. So then I can't wait to bring this coach on because we started talking about the prices in the green room. I about fell out the chair. I was like, wait, what? So we will be, oh man, you wait till you guys hear this. So we will be right back up after this with Coach Brent. How you say his name? Brent.
Breen.
Breen. Coach Breen.
Blue line, and Carrier gets shoved off the puck by David Myson as the Bucks come into the zone, and here we go. Over there on the far side, Kenny Getz is back at it. It's him and Neil Breen going lefts and rights over there on the left side for it. Kenny Getz trying to come in with a right on Breen. Kenny Getz is giving Neil Breen all that he can handle here tonight. And this is actually a fight that Kenny Getz should win because he's got a height advantage over Neil Breen for once. Kenny Getz continues to punish Breen over there along the far side boards. Getz and Breen are tied up, and the linesmen Wilkinson and LeVar are going to come in and break it up. Why, Rick, did they do that? I think they're trying to...
Hey, Coach.
Hey,
How's it
coach.
Hey,
going?
Coach, how are you?
Hey, I want to make it clear that your broadcaster made it sound like I really got beat up, and I didn't. It was actually pretty good.
I believe you. They got to do that. They got to be really
Of
dramatic because
course,
that's what sells, and
hometown
everybody gets all
broadcaster.
excited about it. But yeah, I believe you. I believe
You
you. So,
ready? It's okay. Go ahead and say, I whooped his butt.
No, I didn't actually. He was a real tough guy. I'm actually still in touch with him. He's a good
Your
guy. He's got a
friend.
kid in hockey and everything. So it's a small world, the hockey world, for sure.
oh wow. So okay. Before we go get started, what brought that incident on?
Well, I mean, so like in pro hockey, especially minor pro, there's a lot, especially in those days. I mean, that was back in the 90s, early 2000s. Intimidation was still kind of a part of the game. It's less and less is important now. He was a tough guy taking liberties on some of our higher end players, and I wasn't one of those higher end players. I was more of the guy to, take care of guys like him, and so that's what I had to do. He slashed one of my line mates, and so I cross checked him in the face, and next thing you know, we were fighting.
Oh my goodness. I tell you what,
Yeah,
I
it's pretty.
to watch it is so intense. I mean, and it's funny because the
Mhm.
refs kind of let you go for a little while and then
Yeah.
they kind
Oh
of
yeah.
get in. Yeah. So and then you can hear the crowd going crazy in the background. So
Is
yeah.
that what
Yeah.
make hockey fun? The fact that you guys break out into fights, is that what caused the excitement in the game?
No, I mean, listen, it's definitely an exciting part of the game, but there's so much more to the game that's exciting. The team aspect of the game is, working together with your teammates. Scoring goals is a lot more fun than fighting. I'll tell you
Mm.
that.
So let's
So,
get right into
uh,
the hockey. Um,
okay,
let's go back. You've been 30 years, played 30 years.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
long time.
That's
So let's
long.
tell how did you okay, so to play hockey, you gotta be able to I mean, those skates are thin, right? Like it's a blade. Okay.
yeah,
I'm good with roller skates. Now you're gonna tell me to get on a blade. That's a little tough.
yeah,
So tell me how at a young age you guys are trained to play hockey.
yeah. A
How's
lot
the
of it
training
is
going?
a lot of it's based in skating. So the most important thing in the game of hockey is learning how to skate. So in your early years are developing your ability to work on your edges and skate effectively going forwards and backwards, and then you add the skills with the stick and handling the puck. I mean, but it all is centered around the ability to skate. If you can't skate, you won't be successful at hockey. So in your early year, before you even start with hockey, you learn to skate.
And how long is
Um,
the process of that?
I mean, it depends on the athlete. I mean, sometimes kids latch onto it and pick it up pretty quickly. Like myself, I started skating when I was 3, and really picked it up. Had a knack for it at 4 years old. I was a pretty mature kid at that age, so at
Mhm.
4 years old, I was able to pick up a stick and play with on the skates, and then I was one of the first kids in my hometown actually to play travel hockey at such a young age. So it really just depends on the athlete. Like if you have good balance on your feet, you'll be a good skater. So
So in that process, you're learning to skate, and then are you learning with the equipment on? Because that adds extra
yeah,
because without the equipment, it's challenging. Now you're putting all the
oh yeah,
equipment on, and now I'm having to balance with the equipment. So when do they start
yeah.
that part of it?
So usually, like you get the equipment when you're ready to start to play hockey. So you work on just with skates and a helmet to start, and then once you're ready to kind of put the stick in your hands, then you get the pads. And to be honest, the gear and the weight doesn't really affect the balance any. It
All
more or
right.
less gives you more confidence because you can fall and it doesn't hurt. So the gear actually helps with the confidence and things. So once you get the gear on, you kind of can really start to test yourself with speed and stopping and running into the boards or into another player. And that
Um,
and that to go back on that other comment, that's what makes it fun too, to be able to smash into people and it be legal, and that's a fun part of the game, and I think it's a lot of young players would agree with that.
so now for you start at a young age. You played in high school.
Hmm.
Um, I haven't seen that many high schools um, with hockey. Is it Is there a reason why it's not that many schools, high schools?
So yeah, so there are high like it depends on the area. So like Anaheim, the Anaheim like Southern California area just started high school hockey a few years back
Mhm.
with some investment from the new NHL teams that are over there. Um, Dallas, I think, is going to get there at some point. Their youth hockey actually started to step it up quite a bit. They have new programs down there because of the Dallas Stars that came in there. So a lot of areas that have a high amount of arenas and interest for the sport have high school hockey now. Unfortunately, like high school hockey isn't as competitive as it used to be. There's a new thing that's called AAA hockey, which is like the highest level for your age group, and that's sort of taken over for high school hockey, if you will. They still have high school hockey, especially around here. There's a lot. Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. There's a lot of, Minnesota has a lot of high school hockey. Minnesota is really the only place where high school hockey is sort of the place to be. Everywhere else, it's youth hockey playing, at the AAA level from the time you're 16 and up. So
Now, is that because in those states it snows more and you don't necessarily have to be in an arena? You guys have lakes that freeze over and the kids are out there skating on them. Is that
yeah,
why it's
well,
popular out
like
there?
10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago when the climate wasn't so warm, that would have been true. I mean, a lot of those colder places you could, skate on a pond and things, but nowadays, the lakes are barely getting cold enough to freeze over. So um, I would say that's kind of what started the tradition. I think that would be accurate, but I think it's more or less it depends on the community. If hockey is a big part of the community, then chances are they're going to have some high school programs. If hockey's not a big part of the community, then
Hmm.
usually they'll stick to just having youth teams.
Yeah, I have some godchildren in Alaska that plays hockey. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
everybody plays hockey in
in
Alaska.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're on a competitive traveling team. So
Yeah.
That's where
now
ice would be.
that's where what?
Ice in
Hmm.
Alaska.
Yeah, because in
That's
Alaska,
right.
when it freezes, my husband's used truck driver, so he said the trucks actually drive out to the oil rigs on the
Oh
ice,
yeah.
out
Oh
on
yeah.
the, I guess, on the water because it freeze.
Yep.
But he would never
Oh yeah.
do it. But to get out to the oil rigs out in the water, their 18 wheelers literally drive on the
Oh,
ice.
no way.
Yeah, he
Crazy.
said he wouldn't do that. I mean, it pays
Oof.
good, but man, just a
Yeah.
crack. That's
Oh,
it.
No
That
fun.
18 wheeler going
No fun.
down, and you in it.
I'll stick to hockey.
Yeah,
right.
right. I'm telling you. So, um, college, and then you play professional. So tell us
Yep.
about that
Yep.
journey.
Yeah. So I like to get to college. So I coach junior A hockey now, and to get to college, I had to play high level junior hockey. So as a 16-year-old, I got picked up in the British Columbia Junior Hockey League in Nanaimo, British Columbia. I was one of like three or four 16-year-olds in the league and did pretty
Wow.
well. And then I got picked up by the Tier 1 here in the States called the United States Hockey League. I
Mhm.
played in Omaha, Nebraska for 3 years and, did a good job. It was an amazing place. We had 8,000 fans a game, and I mean, it
Wow.
was unbelievable. It was like playing pro in high school. Um, and then I got picked up by I got a scholarship to go play college hockey at Quinnipiac University, um,
Mhm.
which is it was just here in Hamden, Connecticut, and played for 4 years. My last year I was a captain. We competed at the national tournament and had we won our league championship 3 of my 4 years there, and then we were recently inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow,
Uh,
congratulations.
Thank you. And then I played a year of pro. Uh, that clip you saw was pro. I started in the American League with the Utah Grizzlies, and they sent me down to the Central League in the minors to sort of cut my teeth, if you will. But I did a lot of fighting in my career, and it got to a place where it sort of became tiresome to drop the gloves all the time to get a paycheck. So I started coaching right away, and I've been doing it ever since.
So now on the hockey, how is the recruiting process for college?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, because junior A hockey is such a prevalent thing all over the U.S. and Canada, college recruiters have, sort of a lot of hockey to watch at their disposal. Now with
Mhm.
the internet technology, they have a thing called Hockey TV, where you can pretty much, you know, watch any game that happens in the U.S. or Canada
Oh,
or in the
wow.
world for that matter. So a lot of recruiting these days are being done, on video, and then with the recruiting budget, you can go and watch showcases that these leagues have or games in the various places. So and you can get a pretty good, like, you can go watch a kid live and then go back home and pay attention to the rest of his games, watching video and get a real good sense of who that athlete is, and then obviously the phone conversations, you want to understand who they are as a person and their character and their ability to, what their grades are like, and talk to their teachers and things like that. I mean, the good recruiters pay attention to the whole person, the whole athlete,
Right.
because you don't want to spend that money on a kid that comes and ends up being a bad seed, right? So it's very
Right.
important, especially in today's world, that kids keep a clean record on the social media, and
Yeah.
sort of keep it, I call it, keep it Switzerland. Don't lean one way or the other too much. Just be a good human being and post positive things, and everything will be fine. A lot of kids today make the mistake of
That's
airing out their
right.
dirty laundry on social
That's right.
media, and the college recruiters pay attention to that.
They
I pay
watch all of
attention to
that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
The last thing you want to see is one of your athletes, holding up a beer and a bong and saying, "Hey, let's have some fun." They might be great at the time, but that's going to end up haunting you in the long run.
Yeah, because
So,
they're due to the social media now, they have it's easier access to your life. And it's funny because
yeah,
athletes get on and they don't think about that. They just start posting. And whether it's
it's
in the
unbelievable.
club, a bunch of women, or in the street, or doing something, they just start posting, or even what they call clap back, right? So if somebody say something, they clap back and say something negative, or
Uh-huh.
something they shouldn't say, and it it messes
Yeah,
with
I
them,
mean,
you know?
you look at Drew Brees, like the comment that Drew Brees made, and it was not a smart thing for him to do. Um,
Yeah,
you're, of course, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but at the end of the day, I think the smartest thing to do, regardless of what your feelings are, when it comes to social media, especially if you're an athlete, because you're under the microscope as an athlete. You're
as an
being
athlete,
looked at.
right?
Keep it PC. Keep your political comments to yourself. Don't let the social media be your soapbox.
Yeah,
Let like, I understand, standing up for your rights and things like that. That's a whole other story. But in regards to your personal life, like, we don't need to see all of that.
right.
We just want to know that you're a good athlete, and that you're going to be a good human being, and you're going to have a positive effect on the community around you when you're here.
Right,
Yeah.
So
because it does, it messes with them, and then the sad thing about it, social media or the news will take it and twist it, and by time and you may not have meant
Meant
it
it.
exactly that way,
right,
but you might have said
exactly.
it out of a moment you were frustrated, so
Right.
it came
Uh-huh.
out that way.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's too late because as soon as you push send,
It's
it goes ding, 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 ding.
gone.
I mean, it's like it's
Oh yeah.
gone, and so then the media
And
grabs it, they
yeah.
write an article about it, they flip it, so now it's way past you. It then went down the street, around the corner in another state, and by the time it gets
Yeah.
back to you, you're going, "But that's not
What?
wait,
I
but
didn't
wait,
say
that's
that.
not what I wait, hold on, you took it
I
the wrong well,
know.
it's too late now," because
Yeah.
yeah,
It's wild.
it's
And
wild.
that's,
So, yeah, I tell my
the
athletes
bad thing. Yeah, the bad thing about it too is that you you have something that most people don't have when you're an athlete, especially if you're a professional athlete, is you have a soapbox to stand on. When you
Mhm.
speak, people are listening.
they're listening,
Your
right?
role
Yes.
models and the kids that want to be you. So you have to be very, very conscious of the things you say at social media. It's so important.
It's crazy. So
That's
now in
it.
the recruiting process for high school to college, what is it like for to go to professional? So walk us through the steps of an agent and the contracts because they're different. Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So in hockey, they have a draft, right? So if you want to play at the highest level, which is the
Mhm.
NHL, you got to perform at the junior level or at the college level. Um, and so, if you're lucky enough to get drafted, then you're automatically, sort of, you move right into that organization that drafts you. If you're a free agent, and I think you were talking about this before, if you're a free agent, it's a little bit different. You
Yeah.
kind of have to you work with an agent to get you opportunities for various teams that you might have a chance at, and then you kind of work your way up through the system. The NHL is so elite and so difficult to get into as a free agent. Typically, you're spending as a free agent, if you're not drafted, you're probably going to spend 2-3 years in the minors before you get your chance, and you're going to have to
Wow.
perform. Some guys will go right in as a free agent. They got missed, and they play maybe half a season in the American League, and everybody's like, "Oh boy, we missed this guy. Let's get him." Uh, but it's pretty common for a player, even if he's drafted, to play a few years in the minors before he gets called up.
So
Now
they so
let me
go ahead,
ask.
Karen.
When you was talking about being drafted, you talked about in the junior league and in the college league. So that means that the junior league is, you said it was 18 to 20. So you're saying they can be drafted at the age of
Oh
18
yeah,
into
oh
hockey?
yeah, yeah. So a lot like the NFL draft, they'll draft players right out of high school. Um, it's similar in hockey. There are leagues, the
Basketball
tier
will.
one, yeah, basketball too. Yep. There are leagues that like in Canada, the Western Hockey League, the Ontario Hockey League, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League,
Hmm.
that are considered minor pro. It is junior A because of the age group, but some of those athletes get paid. They typically will draft players out of those leagues. They draft players out of junior A in the U.S., the United States Hockey League. Like this last year, they had a ton of kids drafted out of the United States Hockey League,
Um,
which is that's the league that I played in for 3 years. And um, yeah, so you could get drafted as, typically when you're drafted, you're 19, 20 years old, coming out of those leagues, or if you're drafted out of college, you're a little bit older. So it can
so
happen. If you're really good, they'll find you.
so basically, you have baseball who have minor league. Um,
Uh-huh.
you have hockey who has minor league, and so again, that's I think what they were trying to do with the XFL to be kind of like that
Yeah.
minor league. So
Uh-huh.
because it actually would be good. Now, what's the contract like? Is it a baseball's guaranteed? Is hockey like a guaranteed contract?
It depends on the contract, right? Like,
Hmm.
you can get what's called a two-way contract, where say we're gonna draft you, or we're gonna sign you to a two-way, so you're gonna play for our American League affiliate, and if you prove yourself there, then we'll call you up and you play for us. And then you have the option. It depends on the length of the two-way. Usually they do 1 or 2 year two-way contracts. After your second year, then they revisit giving you a full contract for that particular team, or otherwise.
I didn't even know they
So it
had
really just depends.
a draft either. I
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess you because it's not as big. I mean,
right,
as the
right.
NFL draft and the NBA draft.
right.
I know MLB has a draft, but yeah. Okay.
Let me
What
ask
is?
you this.
Go ahead.
How many teams are in the draft and how many players are on a team?
So every team has, let's see, the NHL, I think they can carry 23 or
Hmm.
25,
Mm.
uh, somewhere in there. And then, there's quite a few teams, I think. Oh boy, you're really testing my hockey knowledge here. Uh,
30 years.
yeah. So I think there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 23 teams,
And
I
how many
believe, in the
games do they
NHL.
play?
They play anywhere from 80 to 100 games a season.
Oh,
Are you serious?
that's a lot.
Yeah, like
That's
we
like
play
that.
at
What,
the junior
what
A level.
basketball play? What
100 and something.
Yeah,
man? I did
yeah,
not know
but I
that.
think it's closer to the 80 side. But like in junior hockey, they're playing anywhere from 50 to 60 games. college is obviously a lot less. Like they only play like 25 to 30. Um,
So
but
how
they,
many
the
minutes?
TV
How many they play 4 quarters? Or how does it go?
three periods at 20 minutes stop time.
3 periods, 20 minutes stop time. Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the training like for hockey? Is it the same as like weights, agility? What's how do you guys prepare?
Yeah, lots of weights, lots of agility. The most effective training for hockey is plyometric activity, so explosive work. Uh, a lot. You train a little bit like a football player would, with the speed and agility,
Hmm.
but a lot of it is single leg, single appendage work because of the balance aspect. Um, so sprints is a great thing for hockey players. The weight training is more focused on balance and stability, and things like that. So it's very important that you have really strong, ankles, strong legs. It's not as important for you to be really big on the top half. So a lot of lower body, explosive work is usually the way you train for hockey.
So do hockey have a pro day as well?
Uh, uh, what do you mean by a pro
So,
day?
like for instance,
Like
like
a
in the football, they have pro day where the teams can come out and watch those who made it to the to
Who's
um,
eligible?
yeah, who's eligible for pro day, and they can come out and watch them and things like that. Do
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They do have that. They have the projected drafts. It's kind of, yeah, it's similar
similar?
type of thing. Um,
Okay.
they have the guys come out and do skills and shooting and skating and things like that. Yeah, there
Mm,
there there is a pro day for sure.
that's
Let me
good.
ask you this, like with football, there's sizes, certain positions are a certain size and weight and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Is that the same with hockey? You have to be a certain height, you have to be a certain weight for the different
Yeah.
positions.
So not really. I mean, there is like common sizes for positions. Like for goalies, it's always better to have a taller, bigger goalie. I mean, there's the odd exception, like a kid might be 5'11" and still be as effective as a 6'4" goalie. But usually, statistically, a goalie that's like 6'1" and above is going to save more pucks. It's just fact.
Wow.
But again, there's exceptions to that rule, of course. Defensemen typically, the average size of hockey players is like 6 foot and above at the pro level.
Mm.
But there's plenty of smaller guys like Sidney Crosby and Martin St. Louis, guys that are like 5'8", 5'9", who are just as effective as the bigger guys. So it really comes down to your skill level and your ability to stay on your skates.
And how
It
explosive
doesn't
you are,
really
as you
matter.
were saying, right?
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah, and
All
how
right.
explosive you are. Yeah, if you in your first three steps you can jump out ahead of everybody else, it doesn't matter if you're 5'2" or 6'5". Like it's as long as you can skate faster and stay on your skates and score goals, then you're gonna make it.
So before we move on to because you're now coaching, what is the average of a contract? So what's
Uh, Average of a contract like for a
price
pro,
Pay.
for
like a
pay wise? Pay wise.
well, the league minimum in the NHL is like 400,000. So it's
Mm,
pretty good.
that is very
Um,
good. Very good.
yeah, that's
What's
the league
that?
minimum. So it might even be more now, but I think it's somewhere around 400,000, and it
That's
can
not
be
bad.
anywhere from there. I mean, you have athletes that are making multi-million dollars. However, the scale is much smaller than like baseball or football or basketball. So
Yeah.
those guys get paid quite a bit more, and that's
Wow.
mainly because of the TV deals, right? Like they have the best TV deals of anybody. Those sports. Hockey used to be with ESPN a long time ago.
Hmm.
Now they sort of they've bounced around with different networks and things. So TSN is now really the major carrier of hockey, and they have the NHL package now that
Yeah, I've
you
seen
know
that.
uh, Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that on
it
ESPN. If you want to
works
watch it,
with
order the
rules.
package.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, 400,000.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, 400,000. But for competitive, you said it arranged from
Oh,
10 to 20,000 for a young person to play a year.
yeah. So if you have a young athlete who wants to play AAA hockey, uh, at a high level, compete against the best, you're talking anywhere from, $10,000 to $20,000, and that covers your ice time, your travel, and your game expenses and things like that. And that's not really even counting equipment because every time you grow, you're gonna have to need a new set of equipment, and equipment's not cheap. Like skates are, anywhere from $300 to $600 a pair.
Wow.
Shin pads are $100. Helmet, $100.
That's
Gloves,
okay.
$100.
Mm-mm.
So it's
I'll buy him a puck
sticks are like,
and a
yeah, there
stick,
you go.
and I'll let him go in the backyard.
In the
And
street.
Yeah,
right,
sticks
we're gonna play
sticks are
street
like
hockey.
$200. Can you
Mm-mm.
believe
I'll
that?
make one.
$200.
Mm-mm. I'll make one.
Yeah,
Oh my
and,
goodness.
and you know what?
yeah, it's
That
very
that
expensive.
don't even count for like my coworker here in Dallas. He was into his son was into hockey, and then they decided to let their son move out east to live with a family in order for him
Hmm.
to continue to play hockey. So that right, they probably added more money onto that $20,000, just letting him
Oh yeah,
go live with a family.
Oh no.
yeah,
See,
yeah. So
I'm glad mine didn't play because we talk on the show, we talk about parents who get rowdy and tell off coaches. I'm gonna tell you right
oh
now,
yeah,
I probably would be one of those parents because my mind would be thinking $20,000. So I'm
yeah,
gonna be yelling. I'm gonna be like, "Why you ain't playing my son?" I'm gonna be
right,
throwing
right.
fits because my mind is going, I just spent 20,000. No, you gonna do something. You gonna get on some ice. No, I'm playing. But yeah,
Yep.
that's
Yeah, no, that's a common thing. Like you have parents in the hockey world that are just as crazy as any other
yeah,
sport,
I would be crazy
and
in the
that's a
hockey
big
world.
part of it. Yeah, the
Yeah,
financial part of it is definitely not something that we're proud of in the industry. Like, but it's really kind of unavoidable just with
yeah,
how expensive the ice is to maintain and the staff you have to pay to upkeep the rink and the electricity bill. And I'm hoping for a day when we can be more sustainable as a sport. Like there's a lot of rinks are looking into solar energy for their electrical bills now, and different means of keeping a rink up and keeping the ice and hockey more affordable. I mean, there's definitely a lot of great ideas out there. I don't think they've just come to
yes,
fruition just yet.
yeah. Yeah, when they come down, we'll think about it. But
Yeah.
until
No.
then, they're gonna stay with football.
So what's the average cost of a ticket to actually come to a game?
So it depends on what like what league you're talking about. So like if you're going to the NHL, I mean, you could anywhere from 30 to $200, uh, depending upon where you're sitting and things like that.
Yeah,
But the tickets for the games aren't really that bad. They're pretty standard, like going to a football game
football
or a
game or a
baseball game.
basketball game. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
can get
now
the
that
nosebleeds.
yeah, the nosebleed. Yeah, I don't like nosebleeds. I get
Me
lightheaded.
neither.
Mm-mm, can't do it. So now you play professional. Now you went on to coaching. Um,
Yeah.
so during the COVID, how has that been for you guys, and what does it look like for you coming back?
So our league, the Eastern Hockey League, is very optimistic about everything. We have a full team. Recruiting has been great. We're sort of kind of we're not acting like the COVID-19 isn't happening because it's definitely a real thing and it's affecting a lot of families and athletes. And but we're also optimistic that it is going to lift and we have some projected dates. So our start date might be a little bit later than normal. Usually we're starting around Labor Day. We're
Mhm.
probably going to start a little closer to October, I think, just to to make sure things are kind of
Hmm.
clear and underway. There's going to be regulation as far as how many people can be in the building and things like that that we'll have to work around. But the comforting part is that most of the rinks are privately owned. The teams are privately owned. So
Uh,
as long as we're not allowing it to be too much of a public thing, I don't think there's going to be too many issues. We've been talking about different things as far as testing goes. I don't know how far that's going to go, but I think it all just kind of depends upon sort of how this all plays out in the next couple of months.
so now, when it comes to the NCAA, how do they play a part in this with you guys?
Yeah, so we do. So the Eastern Hockey League does more NCAA Division II and Division III commitments than any other league in the world. So
Wow.
we have a very high presence of NCAA coaches in our buildings on a regular basis. So hopefully the restrictions aren't too severe that we can't have these guys in our building, on our showcases and things like that for
Mm.
them to watch our athletes. So we're pretty confident that we have a deal with Hockey TV, which is, I alluded to that before, where all of our games are required to be filmed. It has to be a good image. There has to be announcers and things
Mhm.
like that. So,
Yeah.
let's say, for example, we can't have these guys in our building. We already have created a plan to make sure that they're tuning in to our games on Hockey TV, and these kids are getting a fair look from all the schools.
So how has it been mentally with your team? How are they handling everything right now mentally?
So, yeah, so far, I think it's affected some of our guys a little bit more than others. I call all my recruits on a regular, like at least once a week, and
That's good.
talk about their training and how where they're at and how their families are doing. And one thing I made clear to all of them is like, hey, look, just because you can't get on the ice doesn't mean you can't take care of your body.
That's right.
So I send out nutrition, and I'm a certified personal trainer, so
Oh,
I send
wow.
out things with nutrition and workouts that they can do, sprint
That's
workouts,
good.
and things that they can do with their body weight if they don't have weights at home and things like that. So far, everybody's doing pretty well. They're just a little bored, is what I'm getting. So
Yeah, they're ready for everything to try to go
Mhm.
back to normal as much as it can and everything. So,
yeah,
wow.
absolutely.
So when does your season usually start for you guys?
Usually it starts just after Labor Day. So like last year we had exhibition games starting in like the first week there of September.
Mhm.
But I think this year it might start a few weeks after, just to make sure that the majority of the cases are moving down on the downward trend, which it seems that might be the case. It's hard to tell, obviously, with as we talked about the media. Who knows where it's at?
Right.
Our regulating body, USA Hockey, is sort of in charge of deciding a lot of that. So we kind
Mm.
of are at the mercy of them and what they're going to allow us to do. So, but so far, all the discussions have been positive. I spoke with our commissioner today, and he seems pretty positive that things are going to be pretty normal by the time we get to October. So that's
Yeah.
Hey, I was reading that you're very involved in the community. I'm a community person, so tell me about some of the things that
Wait,
you're involved in.
before you do that, let me tell you about her. She go pom poms. She's out in the street. She has
I love it.
cowbells. She wear helmets. She's at every game, every basketball game. So when she says
I
she's in the
love it.
community, she knocking on businesses' doors. She'll post, "I'm at so and so's barbecue shop," and I mean, she'll turn the
That's what
camera
it's
on.
about.
So when she says she's in the community, please believe me, she's and I
Yeah,
love it. So we need
I
to
think
know
it's great.
how far, I mean, how deep are you in the community?
Well, so before I became a coach, um, I did what's called Teach for America. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that program.
Mm.
It's sort of a recent college grads, apply to be a teacher Um, and it's like getting into Harvard if you can get in. It's very challenging. There's a lot of teachers that
Wow.
apply, and they basically teach you how to be a teacher in like a couple months,
Oh,
and then
wow.
they put you in underperforming schools because it's a civil rights movement. It's about closing the achievement gap between the non-affluent and affluent communities.
Mm.
It
Wow.
really kind of changed my perspective on how much I can give back to the community. I mean, I live a pretty privileged life, and there's a lot more I can do for the kids around me and the kids in the underperforming communities. So I did that for like 4 years, and it really helped me as a professional, and gave me a lot of perspective on how I should be conducting myself, just
Mm.
outside the rink. And so, every year we try to get involved as much as we can in school functions. Like we have our guys will go and visit the school with our jerseys on, and they'll
Oh,
read to the
wow.
kids. We get involved with the local food bank and have the guys work in the food bank, and uh, we're still building those relationships. Every year we form a new relationship with a new organization. Like last year, we did a charity game for the Jet Foundation, which
Mm.
is in my opinion is a really awesome organization. Duchenne uh, multiple sclerosis is a
Wow.
very serious
Yeah, it is.
excuse me, muscular dystrophy. Sorry, a very serious disease that affects youngsters, and really kind of limits their life expectancy. We have a one of our family members on the team whose son has Duchenne, and so we did a game. We ordered special jerseys, and
Oh.
we did an online auction for all the jerseys that the players wore in the game, and raised like over, I think, over $2,000 for
Mm.
that. And then I did a ride this summer. As soon as COVID-19 hit, I have a Peloton, and I decided that I would ride the distance of the state of Washington, so 360 miles in 30 days
Ooh.
to
Wow.
benefit the Jet Foundation, and I raised over $2,000 for it. So
Awesome.
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
Okay, no, she ain't that.
so
No, she not riding. She not.
No, no. And you said over
yeah,
30 days?
That took me
yeah,
about.
30 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, when we go get there?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
I
Now,
did
if I could
like
go to football games in 30 days, different football game, then I would do
I
that.
can do
yeah,
that.
But
Yeah.
not riding no
Mm-mm.
pelican. Did you say pelican?
it was great. It was
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mm-mm.
it was like 12, 15 miles a day, something like that. It was I was tired.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, we
Wow.
do a lot in the
Did
community,
dogs
and I
come
think it's
after you?
important.
She said the dog's coming.
No, no, it
Because
was
you're on the
just a
freeway.
stationary bike, so
Oh, okay.
I didn't
Mm.
go anywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
But
So, as being in the community, because I know
yeah.
we were laughing about the price. As African American, I know there's young men that are now starting to get in hockey.
Mhm.
When you look at the price, it is expensive, especially for a single mother. I mean, a
Yeah.
thousand is tough. It, but
Yeah.
basketball and football is averaging about 500, if that. So how do you guys cope with that? Because I know that it's a sport that you're starting to see more African males wanting to
Yep.
play. How does that all?
Yeah, and females.
I'll
Yeah,
smash.
absolutely. So so what I do, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but what I do is I always try to leave roster spots available for and not just any rate, like for anybody really,
Right.
to have access, so that I do my job on the recruiting end of it, so that where there's some extra funds to help families that have a good athlete, and that may need some help financially.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of guys in our league do that same thing.
That's good.
And we also, as a league, and myself, we definitely pay attention to, diversity. It's an important thing.
Yeah.
Last year I had two Asian American kids on my team, and I had an African American kid on our team, and Um, I think that uh, I think it's important. It's not an easy thing to do with how expensive the sport is, and how I would say the game of hockey is very white.
Yeah.
If we're being honest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think it's important for diversity to exist. I mean, that's the first question that a college recruiter will ask you if you're going to try to get a job at the college level. They ask you like, how are you, how are you dealing with diversity? And I think, I think that's the way I deal with it is I look for the best available hockey players out there, regardless of what they look like.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but I also think that there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot more African Americans playing the sport today, and there's a lot of people that also, don't have the money to play. So as
Yeah.
long as you're providing access for everybody,
Hmm.
I think it's something that's good. It allows there to be diversity in the sport, which I think is important.
Hopefully
Now,
within the years it'll change. Go ahead.
I think
one thing that we do talk about when we have guests on the show is mental illness. So
uh-huh.
tell us about that in the hockey world.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a real thing. I've been doing junior hockey now for almost 15 years, and every other year or so, there are kids that will come to you that have some problems. I try to, as a coach, I try to make sure I check in with my guys on the regular. I was a player too, and I understand, how difficult it is to perform and manage your academics and, manage your life when you're having to give to a sport on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
I try to check in with our guys, all the time. We do a lot of team building activities where, we'll all get together and have a PlayStation
Yeah.
4 tournament or something,
That's
playing
good.
Madden, or we do a lot of things where I'm able to kind of keep a close eye on the guys. I'm a big proponent of leadership.
That's
I
good.
let my guys kind of run the ship, if you will, as far as team camaraderie and cohesion and things like that. So
Mm.
I really take my time to pick the right guys that are going to pay attention to those types of things. I usually pick two captains and two alternate captains, and those guys I call my leadership group. We meet once a week to talk about any of the guys. Are they struggling with this X, Y, and Z?
Hmm.
What are we going to do to fix it? I try to let the guys police it more so than me, because the kids respond
Amongst-
to
Yeah.
their peers a lot better. So,
Yeah, that's
but I
good.
think, yeah, it's
Go
very
ahead.
important to be in tune with the mental stability of your athletes. Mental health is a real thing, and it's
Yeah,
important to make sure that everybody's doing okay. And it's okay to ask guys, for other coaches
that's
out
right.
there, like, ask your guys, like, get
Yeah.
to know them on a personal level. That's so important.
Especially now during this COVID, you'll see it a lot
Yeah.
more, because now
Oh
they're
yeah.
home. They're not, for some kids, being away at school is a safe haven, because of what
Yeah.
they go through at home and their environment. And so now and then you have the professional who is going, okay, what if we don't come back? What am I going to do? And you have them now, as we've talked on our show before, that are living payday, living check to check right now. They don't, the money's not there.
Right.
And so
Yep.
being able to, as a coach, it's important to pay attention to the signs like you're doing and checking on them, and then having the team work together and pay attention to the signs. And because it's there,
Yeah.
you got to understand we
Yeah.
got 50 states, and y- and and in the 50 states you got communities. And so it's like you have athletes who are really struggling with this mentally and emotionally. So
100%.
yeah, so that's good that you are paying attention. It's funny, my husband just came on the screen. I told him about our goddaughter in Alaska. He's like, my goddaughter is a goalie. I told him, so I'm letting you know. So, um,
That's great.
but yeah, this has really been good. So, hopefully, this also, when it comes to diversity, can change as well, because
I
hockey is it's just from watching that few minute segment, it kind of caught my attention because I've seen it, but then I don't pay attention to it, right?
Right.
So now I was sitting there
exactly.
like, oh, they fight like that. Hold on, I might
Right.
watch me a game.
Right.
You
We
know,
might have to
so
go
I
to
might have to
experience it.
go experience it because
Yeah.
it's good to um experience other sports. I
Yeah.
think we get stuck
Absolutely.
in between football and so it's like, okay, football and basketball, and then you kind of trickle into baseball, and then everything else starts going down and down and down. I think we
Mhm.
should
Yeah.
experience other sports.
Yeah.
I
Oh
think it's
yeah.
good to go
I
and
always tell
see
my
and
guys. Yeah, I tell my guys always to, don't be a one sport athlete. Like,
yeah,
enjoy other sports too, because it really helps with your creativity as an athlete. Um, if you just stick to hockey, like, you're not gonna. There's certain things you're gonna limit yourself to. I mean, always participate and check out other sports. It can be advantageous to your career.
and then
No
you
question.
find a level of respect for the other athletes. There you'll
Yeah,
go, "Oh,
absolutely.
wait, you're an athlete just like me." Just because we
Yeah,
play 2 different sports,
Mm.
we're still athletes. We still train. We're still grinding. We still go through things. We're still trying to make it to that 1%. So it's good that that even coaches would start taking their athletes to different games and to different,
oh
so
yeah,
they can get a feel of, they
yeah.
work
We
just as
do
hard as we do.
we do jujitsu. So when I retired from pro hockey, I became an MMA fighter. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, if you could find that video too, if you type in MMA.
Wait, did
No,
you
he
win?
no, he Dwight, that's what I
Oh
say.
yeah,
He
I was.
wants you to know, I need you to find that video.
So yeah, I started doing mixed martial arts because I wanted to see what this level of athleticism was. I mean, I was fascinated by it, and I felt it could be a great thing for hockey players to train, in that sort of realm, if you will. And so I started doing jujitsu and different martial arts, and I loved it. And I still teach it today. Like, I teach it to hockey players because I think it's like wrestling. It's very challenging. It's mentally challenging, and it's a great
Mentally, yeah.
workout. So
I
our guys,
second degree
we
black
do.
belt.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. And then I
In
was
in what?
in
Jujitsu?
karate. No, mm-mm.
Oh, okay,
Mhm. Martial
cool.
no. I was actually testing for my going into testing for my second. And at the time, you have to jump okay, so when you test for your first degree, you jump over one person with a flying sidekick and you break a board. So I was like, okay, cool.
Oh,
Did that, got my first degree. Second degree, you have to jump over two people and break two boards. And so
oh
I
my God.
did it, but I didn't know I had a fractured hairline on my foot, and so it was hurting, but I didn't know. So I went to volleyball the next day because I played. I was the spiker in volleyball in high school. Came down and that
Oh,
joker
okay.
said, and
Oh
I was
no.
Wow.
like, man. So I had missed.
So
Yeah,
wait, you can jump over two people and break two boards? Like, I'm not messing with you.
Right.
yeah.
Good job.
That's yeah.
And you
It,
think that your foot wouldn't
so
be broken?
it's funny because my mom put me in it, and then my brothers. My sisters didn't do it, so I have two twin brothers. Um, and they were in it. They made their third degree black belt. And so I got to second degree.
Oh, wow.
After
That's
I broke
awesome.
my foot, I didn't go back. I
That's
kinda hate I
amazing.
wish I would've because mentally it's you have a different you learn to control things differently,
Yeah,
right? So you
yeah,
learn to control your anger, you learn to control stress. It's just you learn to I don't know, it's weird, but it's just like you when you go, you're like, "Okay, let it go," and then you learn to
yeah.
focus. You know what I mean? So it's not
Absolutely.
yeah,
No,
it's really
absolutely.
good. That's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
martial arts have a lot of therapeutic elements to it.
yeah.
I mean, it's a tough workout, and it
Oh, it
demands a lot
is.
of discipline.
Yeah, I used to win
So,
my fights. I spar. Oh my goodness, I used to love to go to tournaments. Ooh,
Mm.
when they
you
said
should
when
go
they
back.
oh no, mm-mm. Listen, them young, mm-mm. No, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I don't compete anymore either. I'm getting too old.
Yeah,
So
and they're faster, they're quicker. No, I'm okay.
yeah, I can't keep
Yeah,
up. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
So, well, listen, Coach, this has been great. We have learned a lot about hockey, and I hope whoever's watching, our fans, listeners, check into it. It's good to be able to um, be a part of another sport, find out what's going on, and yeah, I'll think about it for my son. You see me say I
Yeah.
think about it,
Yeah.
We'll go
Yeah.
to a
Check it out.
game first.
right? We're gonna do
Yeah. Go
street
check
hockey
out Dallas
outside.
Stars. Me.
No, we're gonna do street hockey outside first. Let me
Oh,
see if
okay.
he wants to. Because when you get
Yeah.
kids at the age, they're like, "Oh, I want to do this one," and it only lasts about like 5 minutes, and they're
Oh
done.
no,
No,
no.
if I'm spending 10, 20,000, oh no, you're gonna play this till you get 30 years old. Yeah,
I
so
love it.
we'll
Love
see.
it.
But thank you again, Coach, for coming on to the show. You have a great weekend. Stay safe. Continue to
Thank
do
you.
what you're doing in the community, and I hope you guys
Yeah.
have a great season coming up. So, but
Thank you very much. I hope we can do this again.
yes,
Uh,
yes, yes. Hopefully, we can come out to a game. Hopefully.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That'd be
this is your girl Shannon at Can We Talk Sports. We will be back this Sunday. What? Right?
Yeah. This
Yeah,
Sunday.
this Sunday.
Yeah, we got someone that wrote a book. Jared
Yes,
Johnson is to
from
say.
cleats to loafers.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
name of the book. That's funny. That's cute.
Yeah.
Cleats to loafers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
going to be a good book, and I can't wait to kind of see how that transition went. So, anyway, listen, y'all, stay safe out there. Stay prayed up, stay focused, stay positive, love on each other, love on your children, love on your husband, love on your wife, love on your dog, your cat.
I
Just
don't know about that.
I know, it was flowing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like flowing anyway. So, we will be back next Sunday. This is your girl Shannon.
And I'm Karen.
And thank you for joining Can We Talk Sports. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.